Oh god, so close. The Murder Drones fandom is finally back to theorizing. Time to make one last big prediction before episode 7 releases. Before continuing, it should be mentioned that I will be using everything we know about this episode. This includes merch leaks. If you have not read the merch leaks yet or do not want them to be spoiled, since 2 of the descriptions contains major spoilers for episode 7, then I'd recommend clicking off and pretending I don't exist. You good? Well, on to the prediction we go. To predict this episode, we need to know what will be happening. And with all the information we have, we can make some reasonable theories on this. The Jay plushie description confirms that Jay will be in the episode and attempting to blow up the planet. While the doll figure description can be seen as her getting fully possessed, I see this more as Doll is dying this episode. From the merch of Solver Uzi and the teaser having a frame like this, Uzi getting fully possessed is most likely going to happen. Let's get on to the predictions. Actually, one more thing. We're not talking about Viek. Even if she is still alive, with how much stuff episode 7 will have, I doubt they'll be able to put V in episode 7 too. Also because it'd ruin V's sacrifice if she came back right after she died. Though she may come back in episode 8 due to this frame having a dead sentinel in it, but for now, I don't think V will be getting any screen time. The episode would start off with Jay guarding Tessa's spaceship. Tessa's ship would get a message from JC Jensen, reading 3 words: activate core collapse. Jay wouldn't question this and head down to the basement. And when Jay leaves, the message would change to a yellow smiley face before glitching out. We would see the main cast crashing down into the basement, having to go through this hallway. Uzi's hand will regenerate, but her eye would remain yellow, bleeding oil. Yes, I think that's oil and not blood. Also, this probably isn't Tessa shooting Uzi. Yeva is bleeding oil here, and Dor does have an eye patch on her Solver eye, so it's safe to say that the Solver just causes oil to leak from the host eye. We can tell that they'll encounter the lockers early on in the episode. Due to these lanterns being the same as the ones from this hallway, N will be trying to help Uzi calm down, while Tessa explores the lockers, looking into Norris. Tessa doesn't find anything, though she wonders why JC Jensen would have so many dangerous drones down here. N had managed to stop Uzi from bleeding, but Tessa decides that there might not be much hope for Uzi, giving a subtle hint to N that they should kill Uzi now. N takes a step back, realizing he doesn't have much time to make a choice. Tessa reaches for her sword, but N has already made his choice. He runs off with Uzi, leaving Tessa behind. They continue until they reach this room. Now, this is where I make a leap of faith in the theory. The scene of N getting dragged away will happen in episode 8, not 7. This is because N is holding Uzi's beanie while being dragged away. But since it's likely N and Uzi get split up and Uzi is still wearing her beanie in this scene where they seem surprised to see Kotha, then that would mean they'll get split up 2 times. And I have no idea what could possibly happen in episode 7 that would cause N and Uzi to split up, and then for them to regroup so N can give Uzi her beanie back, only for them to get split up again. They'll both keep exploring until they reach the cabin fever labs. The 2 will enter the labs until they run into Doll telling them to leave before teleporting away. Some black space in this theory is that somehow Uzi and N get split up, most likely by some Eldrick experiment, if I had to guess. Uzi would explore the labs until she finds this room, and watches the TV, learning about whatever cruel things JC Jensen did. Probably something about Nori and how she probably caused the core collapse with Yeva, and how the crucifix is a cure for Solver. However, before she leaves, the screen would show some horrifying realization about Nori. While I have no idea what it could be that was recorded, it would be enough to cause Uzi to get fully possessed, as seen in this frame. The episode would cut back to N looking around for Uzi. N encounters Tessa, where N convinces Tessa to let him try and cure Uzi of the Solver, and that there must be a way. Tessa doubtfully agrees, saying she'd only do this for N. But before they continue, Jay is blocking their way. Jay tells Tessa that they have to collapse the core and it's an order from JC Jensen. Tessa says JC Jensen can wait, before she goes back to talking to N about how if anyone could find a cure to the Solver, it would be him. Jay decides she's done with being second best to N, resulting in her flying away. Tessa agrees to split off from N. Tessa going after Jay and N going to find Uzi. Doll is exploring the labs for a cure. Her Solver eye beginning to bleed oil and runs into Uzi, who is possessed. The Solver, speaking from Uzi, tells Doll that she can either join them or be discarded. Doll refuses any offer by the Solver, and they fight, ending with Solver Uzi killing Doll. N heads deeper into the lab before seeing Uzi. However, he realizes she's possessed and the two are forced to fight. Though N would manage to get Uzi to come back to herself, the two hugging, Uzi is terrified at what she saw in the Solver's files, as Nori was able to see into the Solver to know about the disassembly drones ahead of time. Uzi managed to see the Solver was planning to collapse the core again, and realizes this is probably tied to Jay being told to cause the core collapse, and the two head to the flesh hole to get Uzi a cure. But they realize the only way to get the crucifix is for Uzi to use her Solver powers. She is forced to use her Solver powers to get the crucifix. N helps her up, but in a sudden twist, she crushes his hand. Tessa is following Jay before they reach the room that can activate the core collapse. Tessa tells Jay to not cause the core collapse. Jay snaps at Tessa, saying this is Tessa's fault for never being there for her before she causes the core collapse. This part is mostly the same as Laudron's theory. The lab lighting up. We get an outside scene of how the gravity shift is affecting everything. But we also get a scene of the other landing pods from episode 3, Clones of Envy, and Jay with X-Visors stepping out of the pods. We see what's happening back in the basement. Just as Jay is about to leave, she sees Uzi behind her. Uzi's eyes flashing with a yellow Solver symbol. Uzi laughs in the same dead tone as the Solver before saying,
Thanks for giving me the planet, friggin' idiot.
The screen cuts to black. That's my prediction. Honestly, just glad I got this video out on time. Tell me your theories in the comments, and bloody bye.